As I said, Hitler felt some guilt in all this, and she wanted to give a sign to her, like to Eva Braun, that he want to continue this relationship, and that what he make is he purchased a villa for her in Bogenhausen through the help of the photographer Heinrich Hoffmann. So officially Heinrich Hoffmann, the photographer who employed Eva Braun, who was the employee of Eva Braun, he bought this villa, but in the background it was Adolf Hitler who did this and bought. And although Eva Braun remained formally employed by Hoffmann, and Hoffmann was the close friend of Adolf Hitler, she no longer had to work, yet continued to receive a salary. So also that was organized by Hitler. The villa was demolished in 2015 after unsuccessful attempts to have it declared as a historical monument like the house of Eva Braun. They had the local authority in Munich felt like this house is not good to because there's a lot of neo-Nazistic people gathering in front of the house, and so they thought it is better to demolish it. Now there's a modern family house on the same site today. The biographer Joachim Fest, the German biographer, he is the most famous German biographer of Adolf Hitler, characterized the relationship between the two as follows. Unlike Geli Raubal, Eva Braun was merely a mistress, with all the anxieties and humiliations that come with it. Yeah, Joachim Fest will say what he wants to say is that Eva Braun was more a mistress and Geli Raubal was more the true emotional love of Adolf Hitler. This is the theory. But at the end, also with Eva Braun, Hitler developed a deep relationship. By 1935, her relationship with Hitler grew and gets steadily stronger. Despite everything, Eva proved far more persistent and resilient than many assumed. So Eva Braun, she tried to go on. In 1935, she was already allowed to attend officially the Nuremberg Party rally, the Nürnberger Parteitag. It was a great show. Hitler openly defended Eva Braun on that rally and had a falling out really with his half-sister Angela, who always criticized her. And Hitler in this time, he said that he defended Eva Braun. He will not that nobody will. He will not like this accept the criticism. Angela had served as a housekeeper for years at the Berghof, the older sister. But after the dispute she had with Adolf Hitler on that Nuremberg rally, around the relationship with Eva Braun, she was forced to hand this position over to Eva Braun. So Adolf Hitler, we can say like this, he kicked out his sister, who he regarded as a sort of authority. She was the older sister, and instead he get Eva Braun into the position of the housekeeper of the residence in Berghof. In 1936, Eva was even allowed to accompany Hitler to the Winter Olympics. Gregor Strasser, one of the most influential early leaders of the NSDAP, the left wing, complained about Eva's presence at official events, that is before 1934. But Hitler remained adamant. He even broke off contact with his own sister, as I said, and he also break contact with other people who criticized Eva. In 1938, he granted Eva Braun a lifelong pension in his will. In photographs taken at the Berghof, a cheerful, playful, fashion-conscious young woman smiles back at us, someone who entertained the company and often found herself at the center of attention. Intimacy of the relationship and Hitler's sexuality is another interesting theme. Much debate has revolved around whether their relationship was platonic or a classical love affair. Yeah, sex sells, we know, and everybody wants to know about Hitler's sexuality. At the Berghof, Eva Braun's room was directly connected to Hitler's. It was connected in the way that nobody officially knew that they had like they shared a door and they could visit each other in the night. Curious servants sometimes inspected Hitler's bedding, but found no signs that would suggest sexual activity was said. This is one of such, I think, that is not proven, leading them to believe the relationship was platonic. Albert Speer, the close friend, architect of Adolf Hitler, however, was convinced that it was a genuine relationship, a conventional relationship between a man and a woman. The same thing was said also by other Hitler's close, adjutants who were around Hitler. Hitler's sexual life remains obscure to this day. Some described him as restrained or uninterested. Others even speculated about a homosexual tendency. Röhm and Hess, mocked by some as Miss Anna, were rumored to be homosexual. But there is no really evidence about that. We have no evidence about a homosexual tendency around Hitler, and the same is true for Rudolf Hess. Endgame, we can say, after the defeat of Stalingrad in 1943, we had the endgame. Hitler allegedly declared, "I now have only two friends left, Eva Braun and my German shepherd dog, Blondie." He took both with him into death on April 30, 1945. Eva Braun was, though, a tragic figure who never received from Hitler the emotional attention she longed for. Yet his secretary, Traudl Junge, noted that during the bombings, after 43, Hitler called Eva, bombings of Munich, Hitler called Eva daily from the Wolfschanze and worried about her safety because Eva Braun was in Munich. Christa Schröder, the other secretary, also reported that Hitler often came to Eva's defense when something negative was said about Eva. On the surface, Braun appeared cheerful, naive, athletic, and fashionable. As I said, someone who tried to create a pleasant atmosphere at the Berghof, but she actually led a lonely life. She was a lot of time alone because Hitler was at the Wolfschanze in eastern Prussia at the front dealing with his officers, and Eva Braun was alone in Munich. Her parents, especially her father, initially opposed the relationship. Yeah, we can understand it. But were Eva Braun and the wives of other Nazi leaders truly innocent is the question. Playful young woman who knew nothing of Hitler's crime is the other question. Was she only a playful young naive woman? This is both a moral and a legal question. It is not true that the wives of the Nazi leaders, Eva Braun and Magda Goebbels and so on, that they were unaware of the persecution of the Jews, forced labor, atrocities in the war, or Hitler's expansionist policies. Beneath the surface, unease and guilt surely must have existed. According to Traudl Junge, the secretary, during the bombings, Eva Braun thought first to help others before thinking of herself. But guilt must have tormented her nonetheless. Magda Goebbels, who also followed Hitler into death, confessed to a friend shortly before her suicide in 1994, only a day after Hitler's suicide, that she could no longer endure the psychological burden and that suicide had become inevitable. Yeah, maybe this was also a reason why Eva Braun reacted with this last step to choose to die with the Führer. No one forced Eva Braun to commit suicide. She could have fled to Bavaria, Hitler urged her to do, and everyone advised her to do. Instead, she remained with Hitler and chose to die with him. She sacrificed her life in order to be Hitler's official wife, at least for one single day. They married only one day, not a whole day. I don't know, for 12 hours or so before her suicide, they married officially. And it was like a gift Hitler gave her, maybe in exchange for all the loneliness, for all the efforts she made in this long and really fatal relationship. And some say that at the end she was paid off. She was like happy, yeah, to be for some hours the wife. It paid off for her in a very strange sense. Not we cannot understand as normal people like the thinking in this moment. Yeah, that was everything about the princess of the Third Reich. I hope you enjoyed it. And next time we go on and we will examine another fateful relationship. Thank you very much, my friends.